Um, Brothers and sisters, may I have your attention? The webinar is about to begin. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, brothers and sisters, may I have your attention? The webinar is about to begin. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikum.
And a very good afternoon from Bogor, West Java, Indonesia. So I would like to welcome you to our World Zakat Forum webinar series. And thank you for finding time and visit our YouTube channel, BAZNAS TV. My name is Abdul Aziz Yahya Saoqi. And currently I'm working as the head of strategic research at BAZNAS Center of Strategic Studies. And today, inshallah, I will become your host in this event with the topic managing COVID-19 demands. The role of Zakat speaks from Europe and Malaysia. So, dear brothers and sisters, today we are very lucky because we have two great honorable speakers from Bosnia and Malaysia. The first speaker is Dr. Elnur Salihovic from Bosnia Zegovina, Europe. Presently, he is serving as the Deputy Secretary General of World Zakat Forum, an international expert and consultant for Muslim philanthropy. Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Enu. How are you?
Alaikum salam. I'm very well. How are you, brother? And salam
Alhamdulillah.
to
Good,
all
Alhamdulillah.
to all brothers and sisters who following us on this call.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Enu, for your kind response. So the second speaker is come from Pusat Pungutan Zakat Malaysia or PPZ in Kuala Lumpur, Mr. Azhan Ismail. Presently, he is serving as Senior General Manager Finance at PPZ Malaysia. Assalamualaikum, Mr. Azhan. How are you?
Walaikum salam. I'm great. How about you?
Alhamdulillah, we are fine too. Hopefully, we are in good condition, inshallah, during this Ramadan in facing COVID-19. So,
Inshallah.
yeah, inshallah. So, Dr. Elnur and Mr. Hazan, before we go further to discuss regarding the topic, firstly, we need to make some important announcement to the participant that currently we inform you BAZNAS Center of Strategy Studies or Puskas BAZNAS currently opening the article submissions to our International Journal of Zakat, or namely IJAZ, Volume 5, Number 1, Year 2020. We have several important topics in this journal, include the pandemic COVID-19 issues. So the acceptance paper will be rewarded by 100 US dollar for international writers, and for local or for domestic writers will give you about 1.5 million rupiah. So moreover, we have also the prestigious event this year, namely the fourth international conference of zakat, which will be conducted at October, inshallah. Hence, let's submit your zakat uh, best article to this well-known journal and to this remarkable event like the fourth icon, inshallah. So that's all the announcements from us. So, dear brother and sister and honorable speakers, and particularly the participant in our YouTube channel, Basan TV, let me explain first to you on how you can speak to us in this webinar. If you have any questions pertaining the topic during the discussion, you just type the question in the chat column below your screen or behind your screen. So, all right, now let's start the webinar. As your information, and as we know that currently every country are facing difficult times due to the economic downturn, which is caused by the spreading of COVID-19 pandemic. So therefore, every government in every country has taken several action by indeed preventive actions by implementing certain policies to handle and break the pandemic, I think. So as a consequence, many economic sectors are affected tremendously by these policies because due to the spreading of the pandemic of coronavirus. And I think indeed, Zakat institution also has a pivotal role during this time. So, inshallah, today we will discuss uh, about the managing COVID-19 in the perspective of Zakat institutions, both in Bosnia or in Europe as the regional, and then in Malaysia, and how Zakat institution responds and how the government support during this pandemic. So let me begin with Dr. Enur. So inshallah, Dr. Enur will share with us regarding the pandemic situation in Bosnia, particularly in Europe, or in wide spectrum in Europe, inshallah, and how Zakat institution there help and support the government in tackling the negative impact by the pandemic. So, Dr. Elnur, would you like to share with us? So the time is yours now. Thank you.
Thank you. First of all, let me express my pleasure to speak on this honorable group and channel, and to send salam to all the participants from Sarajevo, capital of Bosnia and Herzegovina. Regarding the COVID-19 crisis and global pandemic in Bosnia, we can say, Alhamdulillah, we are keeping the situation under control. We have quite little number of infected people. Around 2,100 people have been infected by the COVID-19 coronavirus. And currently we have less than 1,000 people who are actively, let's say, active cases of infection. Regarding the, and unfortunately, we can say that 110 people have who had the coronavirus died during this crisis. We are currently, as we know, we are in Ramadan, in the time of when our hearts are feeling much better than in other time during the year, and people are very keen to give and to support others, and we know that during the time of Ramadan, it's the time when most of people give zakat. Of course, that's the time of giving sadaqat al-fitr or zakat al-fitr, and also other kinds of sadaqah and various donations. And we can say in Bosnia, situation is very quite good, and we have very active, especially young people who are working as volunteers and working within our Islamic community and various NGOs, and they are very active in supporting vulnerable population during this crisis, and they are very active in providing supplies, food and medical supplies, especially to elderly people who are the most vulnerable, and also poor population. We say in Bosnia, alhamdulillah, we have no homeless people. That in comparing to some Western European countries and USA, we have a much better situation regarding the homeless people. We have zero homeless, and we have a very good situation regarding the poor people when we talk about the malnutrition or other problems, and there is no, we can say, especially during the Ramadan, no one is hungry, because we have a very strong network of Jamaat in local communities, and all the people are get necessary supplies, especially food, and also medical supplies. And we can say no one is hungry, and no one is without necessary medication. And what is only difference comparing to previous Ramadans and previous time is that we we have some partial uh, lockdown, and in we can in mosques, uh, regarding the prayers, uh, people can go to mosque and pray daily prayers, Salatul Jummah, Salatul Zuhr, and Salatul Asr. But for the night prayers, it is allowed only to a limited number of people. And especially, of course, also for the night, for the daily prayers, it is the obligation to keep to keep physical distance and respect all all measures that are uh, recommended by the all our health authorities. Uh, that's the when we talk about this crisis, I would like to say that it is a very important in Europe and everywhere in the world, that this crisis show us that is a very important to have a very strong local and national institutions and local and national networks, uh, and that is when we talk about Zakat institutions and our Islamic communities. Uh, it is a very important our Jamaats to be very well connected, and to be able to provide support, and to have a good coordination between local communities, local Jamaats, and uh, to provide support to Jamaats where are some bigger problems, bigger crises, or big number of people who are infected by such a virus, and there are of course most more people in self-isolation, and then need more support and engagement of more people. Uh, After that, it is also very important to provide support to, of course, if we are able, provide support to some regional uh, platforms, and of course some global platforms if we are able, because of fact that we saw in this pandemic that is this is the it's, that the our world is very connected, interconnected, and this is we need a appropriate global response. And this is not only the health issue, this is the economic issue, and also security issue. And that's the that we believe, inshallah, in coming period we will have better coordination on of all responsible authorities and all responsible people to mitigate the consequences of bad economic consequences that is going to be in coming period. As we heard from the United Nations that there is some projection that around 1.6 billion people we in big need and for the food, and will be endangered, and most of them uh, will face problems of malnutrition. I think it's enough for the beginning, yeah. To allow to brother Azhan to give us some information for Malaysia, and then we will continue to talk.
Well, thank you, Dr. Enu, for your great discussion with us. You share with us regarding the situation of COVID-19 in Europe, particularly in Bosnia and Herzegovina. So it is very interesting, Dr. Enu, because the number of affected people by COVID-19 is around 2,000. Yeah, it's around 2,000 in Bosnia, because and then it is very interesting also that in Bosnia there is no homeless, there is no hungry people because the support of young people and local communities to support each other, notably the elderly one. So it is the example that we should do, I think, in Indonesia. So thank you very much, Dr. Eno, for your impressive explanation regarding the situation of COVID-19 in Bosnia. So, so let's moving to our second speaker. But before that, for those who just joined the webinar, I welcome you to our international webinar of World Zakat Forum. And currently, we are talking about the managing COVID-19 and demands the role of zakat. Speak from Europe and Malaysia. So we already discussed the topic with Dr. Elnur regarding the situation of COVID-19 in Europe, particularly in Bosnia. So it is very interesting, and he explained about the how the government and how the local communities support the situation. So the COVID-19 will not go to a safer condition. It is very interesting. So we have the second speaker here, Mr. Azhan from PPZ Malaysia. So I think, Mr. Azhan, the same question is addressing to you, the same, I think, regarding on how the government of Malaysia tackle the situation and how Malaysian people facing the lockdown, or we known as the movement control order (MCO), that I got the data that it will extend until 1st June, right? So I think it is very interesting to see the perspective of the PPZ of Malaysia in tackling the COVID-19 in Malaysia. So the time is yours, Mr. Azan.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Mr. Abdul Aziz from BAZNAS as the moderator. My friends, Dr. Elnur from Bosnia. First, I'm very thankful and actually we appreciate that the World Zakat Forum has invited us from PPZ to share our views, to share our experience, especially in managing COVID-19. As we are all aware, since a couple of years ago, we have been talking about the Industrial Revolution 4.0. We were talking about information technology. We were talking about financial technology, financing, cryptocurrency. We are talking about electronic banking. We are even talking about blockchains. But somehow, out of our plan this year, or maybe end of last year, Mr. COVID-19 is the one that comes first. So are we planned for this pandemic? Definitely not. So what happened, especially in Malaysia, we started very well, and then suddenly the number increased by early of March, and the government took a very important step to curb the disease from increasing by imposing what we call partial lockdown or movement control order. And up to now, we have gone 4 phases of MCO, and then we are now in the phase of in the second phases, or maybe coming to the second phases of what we call conditional movement control order, and this will only end maybe early June, which means that it goes beyond the Idul Fitri. So, what happened to the country once the MCO being imposed by the government? Definitely, um, we have to close almost every economic, every industry in our country, except that we are only allowed to open essentials items shops or supermarkets. So we also in the PPZ have to close our office. So it is actually a challenge for us uh, to uh, to help the government, or what we say is to complement what the government is doing. As you know, once the economy is being shut down, there are a lot of people, a lot of small traders being affected. Those who earn what we call pay as you work income has lost their income. So these people that directly being affected by this COVID-19, not only those who are infected with the disease. At the moment, our latest statistic shows that we have about 6,736 cases of COVID-19. But Alhamdulillah, the government, the Ministry of Health, the hospitals are doing a very good job that we have at the moment around 1,500 active cases, and we have about 108 deaths resulting from this disease. Uh, from the MCO also, we were able to reduce the number of cases, and with that, we are slowly starting to open our economic, to open our business, to open our office, so that we want to reduce those affected by this pandemic. So what we in the Pusat Pengurusan Zakat or PPZ do during this MCOs, during this pandemic, we together with the Ministry of Islamic Affairs try to cater those at least three group of people. The first one is the current list of the asnaf, or the recipient of the zakat. We in Kuala Lumpur, Putrajaya, and Labuan, or Federal Territory, we have about 22,000 asnaf receiving monthly assistance from our Islamic Council, from our Baitumal. So these are the first people that we have to take care of. We expedite their monthly assistance. We give extras to help them to survive during this COVID-19 pandemic, as well as during this MCO. And then there come another group of people which before this is not are not among the asnaf. They are, in Malaysia, we have three classes of people, what we call the T20, the top 20, the M40, the middle 40, and the B40. B40 is definitely we have to have. And thankfully to our government, they are giving uh, allowance or maybe some assistance to this B40. And this M40, who previously are not among the ASNAF, has now become an instant ASNAF. Suddenly, they lost their income. They have no saving. They cannot do their business. The small trader, they cannot open their business. They cannot sell. They cannot generate income. So these are a new asnaf, new people that need our help. So what we did, what the ministry did, together with all agencies under the ministry, uh, we set up a program named Musa'adah Khaira PPZ. Using this program, up to date, we have helped about 20,000 people all around Malaysia, and they are not actually previously asnaf. They are now those who are affected because of the COVID-19. They are the small traders. They are the one who lost their job, the one who do not get paid because they are only being paid if they go to work. So for us, we are still trying our best to help those affected, to complement what the government is doing, and to add to what we have done. We also go beyond these two groups, where we also give support to the hospital, to the Ministry of Health in terms of supporting, providing what we call ventilators, PPE, the personal protective equipment, so that our hospital, our frontliners are equipped, are ready to help those infected with the COVID-19. I think once the MCO has ended, and we are now in the phase of what we call conditional MCO. A lot of business is are already being opened. We are confident that the number of those affected will be reducing, but we are still monitoring with the situation, because we have to get to be ready to help those ones they are needed. Up to now, we have spent, I think, the whole country, for maybe for those who do not know, in Malaysia we have 14 Zakat institution for each state, and if I the latest number that I have, we have disbursed about 200 million ringgit Malaysia to only for these COVID-19 affected areas. This 200 million is equivalent to around 46 USD million, USD 46 million dollar. That is for only for about 1 month plus, and this 200 million is about 10% of our yearly collection. So by mentioning this, we actually really hope that for those people out there who are still able, who are still can afford, you have to come to us and support us by paying zakat. So during this MCO, during this CMCO, where we cannot open our office as usual, we only open during certain time. We are providing online facilities for those who want to pay zakat. So by paying zakat to us, by paying zakat to zakat institution, we will be able to help more, and more people will be supported. And indirectly, what we have done is that we also contributing to the circulation of the economic of the country, because there was a say, if you give money to the rich, they will keep the money, or maybe they will invest the money. It does not go back to the economy. But if you give the money to the poor, if you give money to the needy, they will definitely spend the money. So the money will go back to the economy, and it will improve our situation. And again, for this Ramadan, where we have to pay our zakat fitr, we also provide what we call a new way of paying zakat fitr, not uh, by going to the mosque, not by going to our counters, but you can also pay using our online facilities. Currently, we have been receiving a very good feedback from the public, and a number of zakat payer are using our facility. Maybe those who want to pay zakat online or zakat fees, they can go to our www.zakat.fitrah.zakat. I'm sorry, www.zakat.com.my, and you can choose to pay zakat fee inside that. So I think for our situation in Malaysia, we actually in the decrease of new cases of COVID-19. And we still, what I can say is that our government is still in the cautious mode, where do not allow, we do not end our lockdown as yet. We will continue our what we call conditional movement control order until 9th of June, which means that we cannot go back to our kampung during Hari Raya. We have to celebrate our Hari Raya where we are now. For me, we are now in Kuala Lumpur, so we have to celebrate in Kuala Lumpur, and we have to be patient, because for us, Hari Raya will come next year, but we have to get rid of this COVID-19 first. Uh, that's all for the moment, Mr. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Ahzan, thank you so much. We got certain important points from the experience of PPZ Malaysia managing COVID-19 during the pandemic, managing zakat, managing anything that relate to zakat, and how the way of PPZ handle the situation. And we are also noted that the government of Malaysia and the Malaysian people facing the decreasing of trend of COVID-19. So we are glad to hear. So back to Dr. Elnur, I think. Dr. Elnur, you mentioned it before that the mostly young people and mostly the local communities are very full. They give very full support to elderly, to the in the needed most. So there and the impact, there is no zero homeless, and there is no hungry people in Bosnia. So maybe is there any possibilities for your local communities in Bosnia to collaborate with the other countries in the need most, particularly for those who are affected in the other European countries, Muslim minorities, for example. It is possible for your local for your yeah, according to your law or to your Bosnia's law to collaborate with the other countries.
Yeah, thank you. Uh, for your information, our Islamic community in Bosnia and Herzegovina is the central, we can say, uh, like a central Islamic community for the whole region. including neighboring countries, Serbia, Croatia, other countries, Slovenia, and for the all Bosnian people who live abroad in Western Europe, also in USA and some other countries, we have our local jamaats organizing our Bosnian people in those countries. For example, in USA, we have around 300,000 Bosnian people, and we have a very big jamaats, and we have a very strong Islamic communities, local communities, who are also supporting each other, and who have some central Bosnian Islamic community in USA or in Germany, in some other in Austria, in some other Western European countries, and also in as I say in neighboring countries. We have a quite number of Muslim Bosnian Muslims who are living in neighboring countries. And in fact, Islamic communities in neighboring countries are under the Bosnian Islamic community with the headquarter in Sarajevo, capital of Bosnia and Herzegovina, and with one Grand Mufti, Reisul Ulama, Grand Mufti, who is the Grand Mufti to all these communities, and therefore we are providing our support where is needed. We are providing our support from the Sarajevo, from Bosnia, and we are giving support sometimes with some in money or in some goods, in some supplies, but usually that is the support by educating the imams and other stuff in the those communities, and also providing the some experience and seminars and what is necessary for the strengthening of those communities. And that's the our mission is that as much as Islamic community is in Bosnia can support other communities in neighboring countries and other countries who are close to Bosnia. We are providing our support, and of course we are providing support to all the not only mostly to Muslim population when there is some emergencies such as earthquakes and some floods or something like in Turkey, in Pakistan, in Albania, in some other countries. We are trying to provide some support. We are not so, as you know, we are not so big economy. We are not so. We have only through 3 point in Bosnia. We have 3.6 million of population. It's quite small number of people, but we are trying, and also Bosnian economy is the middle income economy. We are not so strong as our brothers in let's say in Gulf countries and some other Muslim countries, but we want to be part of Ummah and to provide our support whenever we can, and that's it. And we are also providing support for some emergencies for non-Muslim countries, and through our Islamic community, and that's our mission. And
whenever and where we can provide some support, we do that.
Okay, great. Thank you, Dr. Anu, for your explanation regarding the local community, Islamic local community support from Bosnia to the neighboring countries. I'm glad to hear that you are also helping the non-Muslim countries. So this show that the we are as a Muslim is a rahmah for alamin. It is we are blessing for the universe, and we are very glad to hear. Thank you, Dr. Eno, for your impressive explanation and what you have done with your local communities to helping each other. So let's move into Mr. Azhan in Malaysia. So in Malaysia, I think uh, now the country facing the recovery, the declining phase, right? Declining phase of the coronavirus infected the positive case. I mean, so means that shortly Malaysia will facing the recovery phase. So, is there any plan of PPZ of Malaysia to support your community during the recovery phase? Because as we know that there is a time lag to restart the business, to restart anything to do during the recovery phase. Maybe you can share with us about your plan to tackle to handle the situation. And second, I think about the migrant workers. This I think the Malaysia is the country which many emerging countries citizens come to Malaysia to work. For example, from Indonesia or from Bangladesh or from emerging countries, and how if the migrant workers also in the need, uh, and how PPZ facing the migrant workers. I think they are also Muslim in need, and what the treatment that PPZ do to help them. I think that for the question for Mr. Azan in PPZ Malaysia. Please, the floor is yours, Mr. Azan. Thank you.
Okay, thank you again, Mr. Aziz. For our role in the PPZ after this, we hope that what you have said is going to be a reality, which means that we are in the what you call is a recuperating period, or what it means by the number of new cases of the COVID-19 is decreasing day by day. Hopefully, maybe if not by this month, hopefully by June or July, we will have zero new cases, and we cannot go back to our previous normal daily activities, but we can at least have a better breath, which means that we can practice what we call our new norm in our daily activities. So for us, in the PPZ, I think if the cases are really going to be is going to be reducing after some time, maybe those in business, actually, we have already support those who are in the small business. We do give some money to reopen, or maybe to reinvest into their business, so that they can get their income. They can generate a better income from after this pandemic. And for your information, what we call our program that I mentioned earlier, the Musa'ada Khaira PPZ. Actually, in that program, we also have not only Muslim, we also have those non-Muslim that directly affected by this. I think, if not mistaken, around 8% of the money was disbursed to this group of people, those non-Muslim, and hopefully, as you mentioned to Dr. Elnur, this is to show that Islam is a rahmah. Islam is a deen that does not only care for Muslim. We also care for others who are living around us. And for your question about the migrants, we actually in Malaysia we have I think millions of those workers from other countries, especially Indonesia, our neighbors, Nepal, Bangladesh. We have also from Myanmar and a lot of other countries. At the moment, actually, the government or the Ministry of Health focusing on this kind of this group of people, this group of workers, because they are actually living in the group. So once one affected by this virus, they can infect the others. So we have been taking care of this group of workers, and but as far as we are informed that these expenses of these people are being helped by their own their respective countries. For us in PPZ, we are more than willing to come to the field to help if there is a necessity. But at the moment, from what we have seen, the government is taking care of these migrant workers to good, and I think if they are not in their group or they are living together with us, I think they are not being excluded during our support. We have a lot of agency. We have a lot. Actually, in fact, even though our mosques are closed, even though our prayer we cannot pray in our mosque, but the activities of helping people around the vicinity is still being done by the committee. And I think there should not be anyone being left behind. Not to mention they are from other countries, they are Muslim. Even if they are non-Muslim, also we are more than willing to help them, inshallah.
Okay, well, Mr. Azhan, thank you for your great explanation and how the PPZ treatment, the migrant workers, and how your institution plan during the recovery phase. It is very interesting. Thank you so much for Mr. Azhan for a great explanation. So I think we reached the end of the session, but we would like to hear some the closing statement from Dr. Elnur and also from Mr. Azhan. Maybe from Dr. Elnur, is there any closing statement from you? Maybe you can you may advise us about the to all community, Islamic communities, and what Zakat Forum members and how managing the COVID-19, like in Bosnia. Yeah, just closing statement, and then from Mr. Azhan after Dr. Enur speaking. Okay, the time is yours, Dr. Enur, for your closing statement. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. For closing statement, I can say, dear brothers and sisters in members of Full Zakat Forum, we should do our best to strengthen our local communities, our local Jamaat, our national institutions, national and to have a to try to have a good, well coordinated institutional response to this crisis, and to try to, if we are able, uh, and if we are managing well this crisis, to share our experiences and to help others, first regionally and then globally. Uh, I hope, inshallah, we will overcome this successfully, and very soon we will have a much better uh, health, uh, economic, and security situation in the world. Stay safe, and may Allah bless and protect you all.
Okay. Well, Dr. Elnur, thank you so much for your last statement, yeah, in this Zakat for webinar. So let's move to Mr. Azhan. Mr. Azhan, please, time is yours.
Okay, for me to conclude, I think this is actually a very challenging time for everybody of us. This is a very tough time for, especially for us in the Zakat institution. We have to continue working very hard. We have to continue working together. I think World Zakat Forum may play a big role, maybe in future, so that we can collaborate to help each other, especially in this kind of pandemic, in this kind of situation where we really need help, not only in terms of monetary, maybe in term of advice, in term of experiences, and in term of what we call specialty that maybe one country have that can help another country. Another thing is that we hope that those who are well off, still able to pay zakat, please continue to pay zakat, to help us, to help those asnaf, to help those in need, so that everybody will overcome this pandemic successfully. Stay at home, stay safe. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Azhan, for your closing statement. So great, thank you. So, dear brothers and sisters, we are reached the end of the session, I think. So, we are very thankful to Dr. Elnur for you and Mr. Azhan for your willingness to and spare your time to join with us in our webinar to share with us your most valuable experience and knowledge regarding the managing COVID-19 in the Zakat institution or in the local Islamic local communities. So hopefully we can collaborate in another international webinar in WZF, inshallah. So on behalf of the National Board of Zakat of the Republic of Indonesia, or BAZNAS, we would like to say thank you to Dr. Elnur and also for Mr. Azhan for sharing with us. And I don't forget to all participants for joining our webinar. We hope to see you again in the upcoming World Zakat Forum International webinar. That's all for me, Dr. Elnur and Mr. Azhar. Thank you once again for your very time.
Thank
Maybe
you. Thank you.
yeah. Hopefully, we can meet in another occasion in the
Inshallah.
normal situation, inshallah. Hopefully.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
So, happy Ramadan for all, for Dr. Enur and so for Mr. Azan. Yeah. Thank you so much once again. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Salam.